Good afternoon. My name is Dan Scripps, Chair of the Michigan Public Service Commission. I call this meeting of the Commission to order on April 24th, 2025 at 1:04 p.m. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Chair Scripps.
Present.
Commissioner Peritick.
Present.
Commissioner Carrion.
Present.
Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Today's meeting is being held in person here at the Commission's office at 7109 West Saginaw Highway in Lansing, Michigan. We're also hosting this meeting remotely using Microsoft Teams. Telephone relay service is available through the phone option. If you are participating via Microsoft Teams, you may also turn on the live captions by clicking on the More button at the top right of your Teams window, then clicking on Language and Speech from the drop-down menu, and finally clicking on Turn on Live Captions. As indicated in the notice for today's meeting, if we lose the remote connection, the Commission will not recess, but the meeting will be recorded and available for future reference on the Commission's website. In addition, the Commissioners can receive comments via lara-mpsc-commissioners@michigan.gov. For reference, this email is also included in today's meeting notice. We will have the opportunity for the public to make comments as provided in the agenda. A few notes about this. Comments are limited to 3 minutes and one per person. If you would like to make verbal comments, you must do so in person or remotely through Microsoft Teams or by calling into the meeting by phone. For individuals attending in person and who want to make a verbal comment, please fill out a comment card. Comment cards are available by the front table near the podium. For individuals participating remotely by Microsoft Teams and who want to make a verbal comment, you may click on the Raise Hand button at any time to be queued up for comment. For individuals participating remotely by phone and who want to make a verbal comment, you may press *5 at any time to be queued up for comment. Public commenters on both Microsoft Teams and on the phone are added to the same speaker queue and will be called upon in the order they enter the speaker queue. And so please do not lower your hand or press *5 again, or you'll be removed from the queue and lose your place in line. Finally, to minimize disruptions, attendees participating by Microsoft Teams or by phone will be muted until we reach the time for public comment. The first order of business is approval of the agenda for today's meeting.
I move for the approval of the agenda for today's commission meeting.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve today's agenda. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The agenda is approved. The next item of business on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the April 10, 2025 Commission meeting.
I move for the approval of the minutes from the April 10, 2025 commission meeting.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the minutes from the April 10, 2025 Commission meeting. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The Commission meeting minutes of April 10, 2025 are approved. The next item of business on the agenda is the approval of the orders and minute actions on the consent agenda, and today the Commission is assisted by Staff Attorney Kelly Barber Dodge. I recognize Ms. Barber Dodge.
Good afternoon. Today's consent agenda consists of 4 communications matters, 4 electric matters, 2 gas matters, and 1 steam matter. The proposed orders and minute actions for these matters have been thoroughly vetted by the Commission's technical and legal staff and are ready for your approval.
Thank you, Ms. Barber Dodge. I move for the approval of the orders and minute actions on the consent agenda.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the orders and minute actions on the consent agenda. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The orders and minute actions on the consent agenda are approved. I recognize Ms. Barber Dodge.
Item 4A1 is case numbers U21868 et al., which involve an action on the Commission's own motion to commence formal basic local exchange service license revocation proceedings against specific telecom providers. The order before you directs the named telecom providers to intervene in the proceeding and to appear at a virtual hearing before an administrative law judge on June 10th, 2025.
I move for the approval of the order in case numbers U-21868 et al.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The order in case numbers U-21868 et al. is approved. I recognize Ms. Barber Dodge.
Item 4A2 is case number U21904, which involves a matter on the Commission's own motion initiating an action to require CMC Telecom and Internet Incorporated to show cause why it should not be found in violation of the Michigan Telecommunications Act. The order before you directs DMC Telecom and Internet Incorporated to appear at a pre-hearing conference before an administrative law judge and to pre-file testimony and evidence.
I move for the approval of the order in case number U-21904.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'd like to thank our telecom team here at the MPSC for identifying both this license violation investigation and the ones that we just previously voted on in case number U-21868. This is a total of 5 investigations into telephone service providers who are operating without proper licensing or registration or failing to meet their statutory or regulatory responsibilities to maintain their licenses. While traditional landline telephone service is much less common than it used to be for many Michiganders, the service is still crucial. There are areas of our state that don't have reliable cell phone coverage still, and for some residents in these areas, landline service is the most practical, affordable, and some reliable way for them to communicate in many instances. It's more stable during power outages and emergencies, and more secure and reliable for businesses or residents that need affordable, redundant, or secure communications. Our telecom staff learned of these potential violations from customer complaints directed to us at the Public Service Commission. Our staff took these complaints seriously and dug into the claims of the customers. Our regulations are in place to protect customers. When companies act in bad faith and outside of the established regulations, they're choosing to put customers at risk. In this case, unresponsiveness of the companies is concerning, and I'm grateful of our telecom staff for their diligent investigations.
Thank you, Commissioner Peretick. Is there any additional discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The order in case number U-21904 is approved. I recognize Ms. Barbara Dodge.
Item 4B1 is case number U17377, which involves implementation of the provisions of Public Act 95 of 2013 as amended. The order before you adopts the funding factor for the Low Income Energy Assistance Fund for 2025 through 2026.
Thank you, Ms. Barbara Dodge. I move for the approval of the order in case number U-17377.
I second the motion.
Just before we vote on this, just to note that today we are increasing the funding factor from $1, where it's been set since Public Act 95 of 2013, actually up to $1. I think we were at about 89 cents in the past year, to $1.25, and that was made possible under some legislation that passed this past year. With that increase, and it's limited to 1 meter per household, the surcharge is expected to generate just over $75 million for energy assistance in the next fiscal year, and that represents a more than 50% increase over the $50 million cap that has been in place since the enactment of Public Act 95 of 2013. So this is a significant step forward in terms of the dollars that will be available for energy assistance. And in addition, the legislation that was adopted in 2024 expanded the income eligibility for Michigan households, and with it, the expanded eligibility, as many as 335,000 additional households may qualify for assistance. So in both those regards, this represents a pretty significant step forward, and I'm pleased to see the order in front of us today. Is there any additional discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The order in case number U-17377 is approved. I recognize Ms. Barbara Dodge.
Item 4B2 is case number U21361, which involves an application filed by DTE Electric Company seeking ex parte approval of the City of Detroit Solar Park. The order before you approves DTE Electric Company's December 10th, 2024 application.
I move for the approval of the order in case number U-21361.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The order in case number U-21361 is approved. I recognize Ms. Barbara Dodge.
Item 4B3 is case number U21373, which involves a proposed amendment of Michigan Administrative Code Rule 460.813 within the Commission's rules governing electrical supply and communication lines and associated equipment, to update the rule to adopt by reference the most current version of the National Electric Safety Code, being the 2023 edition. The order before you formally adopts the amended rule.
I move for the approval of the order in case number U-21373.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries by a unanimous vote. The order in case number U-21373 is approved. I recognize Ms. Barbara Dodge.
Item 4B4 is case number U21600, which involves an application filed by Upper Michigan Energy Resources Corporation for approval to implement a power supply cost recovery plan for the 12 months ending December 31st, 2025. The order before you approves the settlement agreement resolving all issues in the case.
I move for the approval of the order in case number U-21600.
I second the motion.
And just before we vote on this as well, I just want to note that this is a settlement agreement, and we're approving it today as filed. But we did note in the order that we are reserving judgment on the automatic adjustment mechanism that's included here that's tied to the underlying price of natural gas. We've approved these in gas plan cases for a number of years. This is actually the third one that we've approved for you, Merck, but wanted to note sort of a concern that the adjustment mechanism could ultimately influence an electric utilities analysis when comparing natural gas generation resources with alternatives that have less fuel cost volatility, though we still have an opportunity to review that analysis in integrated resource plan filings and other proceedings. So wanted to note that we are, again, approving this settlement in front of us, but expressing some concern and additional evaluation of these type of approval mechanisms going forward. Is there any additional discussion? We'll now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The order in case number U-21600 is approved. I recognize Ms. Barbara Dodge.
Item 4B5 is case number U21768, which concerns the commencement of a rulemaking proceeding to amend the Uniform System of Accounts for major and non-major electric utilities, Michigan Administrative Code Rule 460.9002 and Rule 460.9003. Order before you formally adopts the amended rules.
I move for the approval of the order in case number U-21768.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The order in case number U-21768 is approved. I recognize Ms. Barbara Dodge.
Item 4B6 is case number U21902, which involves a matter on the Commission's own motion to establish a process for addressing requests filed under the Mid-Continent Independent System Operator Incorporated Proposed Expedited Resource Addition Study Tariff, should the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission approve the proposal. The order before you allows interested persons to file comments on the proposed process no later than May 15th, 2025.
I move for the approval of the order in case number U-21902.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The order in case number U-21902 is approved. I recognize Ms. Barbara Dodge.
Item 4B7 is case number U21916, which involves a matter on the Commission's own motion to authorize the release of customer privacy data to assist the emergency energy response following a severe ice storm in northern Michigan. The order before you authorizes the release as described in the order.
I move for the approval of the order in case number U-21916.
I second the motion.
And just a few words on this one as well. So the order in front of us, consistent with our billing rules and data privacy rules, allows for the sharing of information focused on the primary purpose of protecting the grid. And this allows for an accurate assessment of damage from the ice storm that occurred at the end of last month and where restoration efforts continued for a number of weeks. We're working fairly closely with the Michigan State Police Emergency Management and Homeland Security Division, and EMHS is the lead in conducting a joint preliminary damage assessment with the Federal Energy Management Agency, or FEMA, and the U.S. Small Business Administration. And the goal of that is to validate damages and determine the overall impact of the storms from a financial standpoint. And so this sharing of data focused on the two utilities, investor-owned utilities that are under full regulation, Alpena Power Company and Consumers Energy, allows for the sharing of data consistent with the primary purpose provisions in their tariffs, and also directs, to the extent permitted by law, the three co-ops that were impacted by the storm, Cloverland Electric Cooperative, Great Lakes Energy, and Presque Isle Electric and Gas Cooperative, to provide the same limited customer information to assist in the emergency energy response and aid in the effort to garner federal assistance in responding to the storm. So appreciate the work of our energy security section in bringing this idea forward, and the partnership with the state police and a number of others as we worked sort of across state government and indeed with a number of industry leads in the storm response. Is there any additional discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The order in case number U-21916 is approved. I recognize Ms. Barbara Dodge.
Item 4C1 is case number U21839, which involves an application filed by DTE Gas Company for approval of a temporary waiver of the meter inspection requirement in Michigan Administrative Code Rule 460.2351A of the Commission's technical standards for gas service and for approval of alternative natural gas rotary meter and diaphragm meter inspection and testing procedures. The order before you approves the application.
I move for the approval of the order in case number U-21839.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The order in case number U-21839 is approved. We've now reached the time reserved for members of the public to address the commission. As mentioned in the notice for today's meeting, we will take public comments in the following order. First from individuals attending in person and then from individuals participating remotely, either through Microsoft Teams or the phone, who have entered the speaker queue. As a reminder, this public comment period is for commissioners to listen to comments and concerns and not to answer specific questions. When providing comment, please indicate your name and where you live if you're willing to share so that we have it for our records. And again, please limit comments to one per person and keep them brief, no longer than 3 minutes, so that we do have a chance to hear from all who would like to comment. I do have 2 cards here today, and so I'll call both individuals up. So Carol Sanborn, I'll have you go first, and then Doug Bentico, I'll have you on deck. Ms. Sanborn, good to see you again.
Hi, this is on case U21471, the Nelson to Oneida 345 kilovolt transmission line. I'm Carol Sanborn. I live in Lebanon Township, Clinton County, just south of the Maple River. I'm here today again to beg once again for the MPSC to force ITC METC to reroute around my family's prime agricultural land. I want to submit an email dated January 26, 23 from Dan Smith, the township clerk, where he states the township's biggest concern is the Maple River State Ground. According to the township meeting minutes, which I've included, this was never discussed with the board or any residents of the township that may have been present at the township meetings. This is wrong. Dan Smith is only the clerk, not the supervisor. If this is the only reason for ITC METC going out of their way, taking the curvature route around Matherton, it is unwarranted, harmful to the environment, and financially wasteful. It will cost millions in ratepayer and taxpayer funds and ruin fragile trout streams and wetlands. Our field tile that we just installed that costed a family like us a small fortune, devalue our home and property and cause emotional and physical stress on my family members. It's unwise, reckless, careless, imprudent, and foolish. There are many spots where utility lines are allowed to cross state land in our state. This has been allowed elsewhere. There is no reason to destroy and waste resources and money when a straight line north is the best and most prudent choice. All METC had to do was apply with the DNR for permission. With President Trump pulling federal funding on wind and solar, there will be decreased need for these projects and the line. The House Energy Committee voted on Tuesday to report bills that would reverse PA 233 of 223, which gave the state authority oversighting for solar and wind projects. The people do not want wind and solar. That is abundantly clear. The people want local control over their backyards and property. The people want to maintain private property rights. Our government is of the people, for the people, and by the people, not the other way around. At these MPSC meetings over the last year, I've listened to the Detroit area residents complain about how high their electric bills have gone up. I've listened to the parents on my Parent College Facebook page complain of the high electric bills where their students pay living in apartments at college. They all seem puzzled that the costs are so high. It's all because of the wastefulness that is being spent on these projects, the poor planning and unthoughtful routes being chosen. Please listen and require METC to reroute around our property or cancel the whole Nelson, Oneida, and Helix project lines altogether. They are doing the same to the landowners on the Helix line. I'd also like to say, once again, I think that our rights are being violated by not having an alternate route by our house. every inch of that route should have an alternate route. I believe they're doing that on both the Helix and the Nelson to Oneida Road route. I just don't think that's right. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Sanborn. Mr. Bontico.
Hello, Doug Bonico, Marion Township Supervisor. I wanted to comment on when I was reviewing past cases in the Winterfield storage, consumers had to publish what they were going to do in the paper. They published it in the Morning Sun in Mount Pleasant, which is over 50 miles from the actual gas storage field. And that says that's supposed to be a local paper. If somebody could actually review cases going forwards onto where they're publishing them, because there was the Marion Press, which most people read, which is only 2 miles from the field, but it was never circulated there. I don't know of anybody that reads the Morning Sun in our local area. So if somebody could just double check that it is actually published for anything that's being published in the local area. And then when it comes to the power transmission lines, I have a farm. One of my fields has 7 power poles and 60 acres. We're gonna cross that field 10 times a year at a minimum. This next month, we're gonna be very busy. Each tractor's gotta get 400 hours in a month's time. If weather delays, there'll be 20-hour days or round the clock. There will be drivers that are high school kids. There will be other less than qualified operators due to only needing them for a day or two. The equipment that we run these days, over 100 feet wide. You can buy equipment over 700 horse. This stuff isn't going to stop, the equipment's not going to stop when it hits something. Example of that was last year near me, there was a gas well. A high school kid backed over top of a gas well and snapped the well off. If that well had been put in the fence line, the property line, that wouldn't have happened. There was another guy in Missaukee County that caught the main transmission line into McBain with his chopper. Instantly set it on fire. He ended up in the hospital. Both people have lived. If this infrastructure was built on property lines and along roadways and corridors where you don't have to maneuver around them, these accidents would not have happened. As you build new infrastructure or improve existing infrastructure, if the stuff can be rerouted, relocated, so it's less likely to be hazardous to people, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we have one person queued up in the online options or the virtual options, and so Heidi Drumhiller.
Okay, can you hear me?
We can, yes.
Oh, I can't seem to turn my camera on. Are we not available for that?
Usually it works, but
Well, that's okay if we can't get it working.
you might be asking the wrong person.
Yeah, I know. Okay, commissioners, thank you. Thank you so much. I wish you could have seen where I was today. I'm in my shop. I wish all 3 of you could be here with me today in the marsh. I've got the door open because it's a beautiful day, and you'd be hearing the pheasants clucking, the certain turkeys running around, the songbirds. And this time of year, the ground's warming up, and the EMR rattlesnake is starting to come to life here. It's absolutely lovely. But all of this is threatened by ITC. The case number I'm talking about is U-21471, and my name is Heidi Drumhiller. I wanted to touch base with you today because I hosted a meeting in Tekonsha on Tuesday. I was surprised. This was our first in-person meeting. We had a pie and coffee social, and we discussed what was going on with the power lines. 30 members attended this meeting. Then we had another meeting in Eckford Township where over 60 people attended. I have to say, it's all the same thing I'm hearing from people all over the area. It is ITC's mission statement that they work with landowners and they are they're very protective of the environment and don't want to leave a footprint. This is totally untrue. I was actually, nobody knows who to talk to, where to go. ITC has actually taken the phone lines off the hook. Nobody can call them. There's no number. I was told by someone out of state that I should speak with you. It wasn't anything that I heard in the state of Michigan. And I was told that the Michigan Public Service Commission is a watchdog for us. No one knows at this point, 2 months out, on how to contact you. We all feel that the July date should be extended. We don't think that you have enough information from us, the public, and the landowners to make a decision on this. And we would like to know, how does the line benefit Michiganders? It's a Canadian company, and all the electricity seems to be going to Indiana. But only 2% of the linear feet, or the linear miles of this power line has been opted for. Nobody is opting. That should tell the commission, we are not being treated fairly, we are not being listened to, and no one is opting. We're hoping that you guys will help us fix this. The people that attended from the Coldwater area, they say the route has changed. They have no idea who this is affecting in Coldwater, and we're 2 months out. We're hoping that you extend it so that maybe we can be heard. Maybe ITC can attend one of our meetings. We had Ackerman and Ackerman in at the Eckford Township Hall, and they are suggesting no one sign the options. And they aren't. We are not signing options because we want to be heard. ITC sends a land agent out. He doesn't answer any questions. He has no answer to any questions. And he tells us that he's basically the lowest person on the totem pole. So this is from 100 people attending these 2 meetings. We are finally trying to get a voice, and we're working together to try to be heard. Again, 98% have opted out. They will not take the options. And I want to thank you. Let's see if I have anything else. I just want to thank you guys for listening to me. I know I've been on here quite a bit, and you guys have been so patient. And I have another request. I would love to be a guest on Off a Meter. Just a suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Drumhiller. I think up next we have Kat Fisher.
Yes, hi. My name's Kat, but my full name's Catherine. Long-time listener, viewer, first-time caller. Michigan is a resale state for electric, and I work for a sub-meter billing company. We do other things, but that is where I am. I am a rate analyst for this company. And I just wanted to bring it to your attention that lately, within the last year and a half, we've been having issues with rate books not being updated. This includes consumers, DTE. Those are the 2 big ones, and it is extremely frustrating as a resale. I almost want to say provider, but obviously we're not a provider. We're a billing company, but our clients are essentially the providers. And when those rate books are not published in time, we have to make rate adjustments. We have to ensure that everything is being billed correctly due to those resale regulations. I just wanted to bring this to your attention. Thank you. I love listening to these meetings, and I would love to be on the podcast as well, talking about resale regulation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fisher. I think those are all the folks that we have hands up for. So we'll conclude the public comment period of the meeting at this point. Please note that the public may continue to submit comments via email at lara-mpsc-commissioners@michigan.gov. A few announcements before we wrap up. So somebody else wants to make public comment from the boiler room. So at our last meeting, we highlighted the role of our energy security section and our electric operations section in responding to the ice storms and also to the tornadic activity. But I also wanted to note that they are not the only ones that the commission who work hard around restoration efforts, and specifically our telecommunications staff was actively involved in the restoration efforts. One of the things that was maybe less known about the storm is that the limited ability, or the fact that telecommunications infrastructure had also been impacted, put significant additional challenges on the restoration of electricity, where it was difficult to communicate with staff who were out doing restoration work because of the limited telecommunications operations, and so that was an added challenge in addition to the residents who not only didn't have electricity during the restoration effort, but also had limited telecommunications abilities, even if they had cell phones. So while providers are not required to report outages to us, we often reach out through our telecommunications staff when there is a large weather-related incident. And so starting on March 31st, the division director of our telecommunications division, Ryan McEnany, began to reach out, ultimately finding that Charter had 101,000 customers out, and Frontier Communications had 11,000 customers out. Fortunately, the 911 service, the backbone provided by PFN, was not impacted. So we still had 911 working, but there was a significant amount of damage to the telecommunications infrastructure. And through that outreach, Ryan McEnany and our telecommunications team began organizing meetings on behalf of the state's Department of Technology Management and Budget with the cell providers, including AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile, as well as FirstNet, the MPSCS, the multiple divisions with the state police, and others, to discuss the impact on cell towers, coordination in areas of activity, power supply issues, inaccessibility issues, and a number of others. They also organized, and specifically Ryan was active in organizing a regional meeting with FEMA where they discussed telecom outages and continued throughout the restoration efforts to serve as a liaison between the telecommunications industry and the State Emergency Operations Center. And so I just want to offer a tip of my hat as well to Ryan McEnany and our telecommunications team for their work in contributing to the restoration activities. On a related note, wanted to note that, and it couldn't have come at a more timely time this year, but on April 18th, we celebrated National Lineman Appreciation Day. I try and celebrate that every day, but we do want to take a time each year on April 18th to celebrate the many contributions of line workers across the state. And the day is intended to recognize the essential work of line workers who are responsible for maintaining and installing electrical power lines. They often work in challenging conditions, and very rarely more challenging than what we saw at the end of March and the beginning of April, often doing so at great heights and around high voltage equipment to ensure reliable electricity for homes and businesses. And so I wanted to express my appreciation and that of the commission for all those line workers, both those who are actively involved in storm restoration this month and for the work they do year round. And finally, also connected to those storms, I wanted to announce that the commission is going to have a public hearing on May 21st, Wednesday, May 21st, at the Ellison Place in Gaylord. It's scheduled from 6 to 8 p.m. And it's an opportunity to hear from those who are affected by the outages, just to get community feedback on what went well, where there are opportunities for improvement, and how the challenges that we experienced over the last several weeks impacted people in northern Michigan. And so again, that will take place on Wednesday, May 21st at 6 p.m. At the Ellison Place in Gaylord, and we'll have a press release going out shortly, but encourage all those who are interested in attending to do so. And with that, I believe that we have wrapped up our business for today. So we'll conclude today's meeting. The next regular commission meeting is scheduled for Thursday, May 15 at 1 o'clock p.m. And is there a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn today's meeting.
I second the motion.
We will now have a vote on the motion to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The meeting